Lori here. Today we're going to be doing a video on different bows. So I get asked this question a lot about how to make different bows. And I know a lot of people struggle with bows, so we're going to look at several different ways that you can make a bow without having to have a bow maker. So I'm going to move the camera down and we'll get started. Okay, so one of the first bows we're going to do is we're going to do a double bow. So I love to do this bow because you're making a double bow and you're making it at the same time, and it's not difficult. So you just take two ribbons of your choice. We're taking two with yellow and green. You put them together. You measure out 12 inches. Okay, then you just fold it over. Alright, so I realized when I was editing that it did not show how to start this bow, so I'm going to redo that part so that you can see. So you take your two ribbons, okay, you put them together, one on top of the other. You measure out 12 inches, okay, like this, and then you fold it over. So what you're doing is you're folding the pretty side to the outside, okay? And then all you're going to do is fold it over 6 times. So you just keep folding and folding until you get to 6 times. Okay, and the rest of the video will show you how to continue, but it for some reason cut off this part, so I wanted to make sure you could see this part. Okay? Okay, so we're just going to take it and we're just going to fold it over 6 times. Okay, so you just keep folding it over until you get to 6. So 1, 2, 3. So there's 4, 5. Okay, and here's our 6th. Okay, so once you get 6 in there, just cut it off like that, okay? And then what you're going to do is you're going to take this stack and you're going to fold it over. So I have my cut off piece in the middle, all right? And you want to press down so that you have a fold. So the reason that you need that fold is because you're going to cut a little slit in it. Now don't be nervous if you do this, because it will work. If you're not sure, then practice it with some of your non-favorite ribbon. Okay, so you're going to end up with little slits like this on both sides. And I've already cut this, but what I did is I cut an entire yard of both ribbons. And then you want to find the center, and what that does is that gives you 18-inch tails. I'm going to pinch the center. I have a piece of 26 gauge wire that is cut about 26 inches. Okay. I'm going to take this, and right here is where I cut it off. I want that to be on the bottom. So I'll set this together. I'll take my wire, go right through my slits. I want to try to get my wire even. Alright. And then you want to, on the back, you want to tie it as tight as you possibly can. Now if you have trouble with your hands, get some needle nose pliers and you can grab it and twist it with that. Okay? Alright. So it looks pretty ugly right now. It just looks like a flattened bow. But that's okay, because what we're going to do is we're going to start pulling it out. All right? So you want to go to the center, okay, and pull out this piece. This is just a scrap piece, and just push it to the back, okay? What you're looking for is where the ribbon is back to back, okay? So after you get your tails out of there, move them to the back. Don't be afraid. You have tied your wire on there tight, and it's not going to come loose. Okay, so just hold, pull it, go. What I like to do is go one front, one back. So I'm kind of pulling them separately. And then I'll do the opposite, like that. Okay, and then pull these two apart. Okay, so that's what that looks like so far. Now I'm going to go to the other side. I'm going to do the same thing. So I'm going in the center. Okay, and I'm looking for where it's inside out. Okay, I'm going to pull that one back, that one forward, this one forward, and this one back. And so you can see what I'm doing. I'm alternating my pattern. So back, forward, and separate. Okay. So what you can do is hold the bow by the tails right here, and then just start arranging all of your loops. Okay? You can also put it on a wreath and do this. You can use your fluff box. So I love this thing. This is the fluff box. It's just a heavy piece of wood that has a hook in the center and a nail on the side. And when you're making a bow like this, you can just slide it on and then hook it with the little nail. And what that does is it holds it in place while you pull out. So, one thing you want to make sure is that you don't have any pieces that are twisted in the center. So, that's why we sliced it, so that you can fix that. Alright, so you just want to keep moving them around. You can pull some up, some down, and then just stick your hands in and fluff it out. Okay? There you go. So let's see. We need to move this one over here and this one over there. Do you see when you put the slits in it, it makes it a little bit easier for you to move the pieces around. And that's why you do that. Alright. There we go. So this is a really cute little bow. Okay. You just fluff it until you're happy with it. There we go. Alright. And then just stick your hands in there, fluff it out. There we go. Then you can just take it back off your fluff box. And just like that, we have a bow. Okay? So that's one bow. and you can put it on your wreath or your door or whatever you're working on. And I like to take the ends and just cut them at an angle. Okay. You could also do the dovetail. Okay. There we go. All right. So we have one bow done. Okay. All right, so let's look at another bow. So we'll just keep using this ribbon. I really like this ribbon. So the next ribbon we're going to do is the next bow we're going to do is we're going to do a stacked bow. So a stacked bow is just 2 different ribbons, or 3, or however many you want, and they're just stacked on top of each other. So I'm going to make my loops about 6 inches, okay? You want to make sure you have a little bit of excess on the bottom. You just make a loop on both sides, okay? Pinch it in the center and pull it together to make sure they're even, okay? Then you want to twist at the bottom to get that pretty side back up, and come back to the center, make sure they're the same, pinch it in your hand, twist it, okay? Then make that loop, back to the center, pinch it, twist it. So see, right now all of our loops are the same size. Okay, so we're going to do 3. So we make our 3rd one, back to the center, pinch and twist. Now, if you have trouble with your hands, there's a couple different things that you can do. You can use a chip clip, or you can use a Bowdraba. So I'll show you that in just a minute. Okay, so let's make our 3rd loop. So we're back to the center. I'm still holding it in my hand, and I'm going to take this and trim it off. All right. So this is the first part of our bow, okay? This is the first part, so there's 2 ways you can do this. You can keep holding it in your hand. You can just hold it like this and do your second one. You can use a chip clip. You can even use a piece of wire. You can use zip ties. You can use whatever you're comfortable with. Pipe cleaner. And the Bowdraba, you can just set it down right in the center like that while we're doing our second piece. All right, so this time we want our loop to be a little bit shorter. So I'm gonna do about 5 inches. So what I'll do is I'll take this and I'll put it up against here and make sure, yep, it's smaller. So I still have a little bit of excess on the bottom. I just make a loop on one side, a loop on the second side, pull them up, make sure they're the same size. They look like they are. Okay. Pinch, twist to get that pretty side up. Get your loops even. Come back to the center, pinch it, twist it. Okay. Get these loops even. Pinch it again, twist it again, and do that third one. Okay? So pinch, twist, and then we'll do this one. Okay? Twist it, and and then trim it off. Okay. So you can just place it down right in the Bowdraba while you get your wire out. So I always cut more wire than I need, just because it just makes it a little bit easier. So I'm going to cut about 26 inches with my 26 gauge wire. Okay. I like to go ahead and find the center. So there it is. And then I'm going to pull my bow out. I'm going to take my wire, go right around the center, pull it in the back, and it's very important that you pull it as tight as you can. If you can't, remember, use those pliers, because if it's not tight, there's a really good chance it's going to come loose. Okay? Here we go. Alright. So see, you would just grab it and twist it. Just like that. Make sure it's on there nice and tight. Alright. So same as before. Now if you don't have one of these, there are many things that you can use. I have seen people use just anything that's heavy. You just want to be able to put a hook on it in the middle and a nail. Okay, and then you just spread your bow apart, just like you would with any other bow. See, and this is a different look than the one that we did earlier, because this is stacked. So you can do more loops than I did. I just wanted to do a simple one. And you would add your tails. Now you can add your tails before you fluff it, or you can add your tails after. Okay? Or you can just do it without. So that is a stacked bow. It's very simple and easy to make. It's really cute to put two colors together. Alright, so that's two bows. Now let's look at Southern Charm Wreath's Funky Bow. So this is a really excellent bow for anyone who is just starting out. It's super easy to make. And it doesn't require a lot of bow making skills. Alright, so we're going to do 3 ribbons. Okay. I'm going to cut this one. Let's do this one at 28 inches. Okay. So this is a great bow to do also if you have scraps. I'm going to find the center of my bow, and I'm going to pinch it and make about a 5-inch loop. Okay. I'm just going to hold that in my hand. Now of course you can do the Bowdraba, chip clip, however you want to do it. Alright, this one I want to cut at 30 inches. I want my tails to be different lengths, okay? So, I'm going to find the center. I'm going to pinch it. I want to make sure my loops are the same size. They are. Okay. Just like that. Okay. So I'm going to hold that in my hand. Then I'm going to do the red one. I'm going to do that one at 34 inches. Now you can do them all the same length. This is really personal preference. This doesn't affect the bow at all. Okay, find the center, pinch it. I'm going to make sure that my loops are the same. Yes, so all the same. Okay, now you can make a 3 loop, a 6 loop, an 8, 9, however many you want doing this style. We're going to do another set of the same ribbons. Doesn't really matter. I specifically wanted different lengths of my tails, so I'm doing that on purpose. Okay, but you don't have to do that. You can do that any way you want. Alright, so let's do the blue, about 32. Okay, you can also vary, so you could have one longer than the other. So we are going to do our loop again, making sure they're all the same. Yes, okay. And we're going to do another red, and then we're going to tie it all together. So I'm going to do this one about 28. Okay. Now, can you see that I am going ahead and moving them around while I'm putting this together? Now, you can tie this with wire. You can tie it with pipe cleaners. But I'm just going to cut some wire off. Okay. And I'm just going to tie it right around where I have pinched them. Okay. I like my wire to be pretty even. Alright, once again, you've got to make it tight. So make it as tight as you can. You can hold it and twist it. That's another good way to make it tight. This one is not very difficult to fluff out. Okay, so you just want to fluff it out like that. Now, what I want to show you about this bow is how cool it is with the tails. So I'm just pulling out a grapevine just so I can show you. I'm just going to take this and tie it around because I want to be able to show you this. Alright, so you just fluff it again. Okay. You can move your ribbons around just like you would on any other. Now what you can do with this bow is you can take one tail, put it up, one tail down. You can put that one up. That's one of the reasons that I like this bow. It's simple and it's versatile. So you see how you can have your tails going up and down just like you would if you had made a bow the other way. So you're getting the same effect, but you're not having to try and do all the loops and hold it in your hand. So you see how cute that is? I mean, that's just adorable. So that is a really great bow to do. It's easy to learn. Alright, so that's bow number 3. We are going to learn another bow that is similar to the funky bow. That is called the Hobow. Now, the difference between the Hobow and the funky bow is the way the tails are done. Alright, so we will cut, I'm just going to cut these about 30 inches. I'll cut a couple. And the great thing about the Hobow is that you can use a lot of different bows. So we've got this larger So we're going to cut some pieces of this. Okay. This is a great bow if you want to mix and match patterns. Okay. You can also mix and match sizes. Okay. Alright. So I'm cutting all these about 32 inches. I won't need this much, but I'm just going to do this for demonstration purposes. So we're going to cut some of this too. Okay. And the reason I'm doing it like this is because I want to show you that this is one of the bows that is really great for scrap ribbon. Okay. So we've gotten our pieces cut, and we're just going to pretend like these are just scrap pieces that we have. Ooh, wait, let's add this one in too. Aha. All right. There we go. So this is a shear, so we're going to add in a shear too. All right. Now, the way this bow works is you take this and you decide how large you want your loop to be. So we're going to do about 6 inches, okay? And you're going to just leave enough to keep it in the bow, but you are not going to have 2 tails. You're going to have one tail. So you just put this in your hand. Okay. We're going to do the same thing. So you see it's very similar to the funky bow, but you're only going to have 1 tail. So I just stack them in my hand. Now remember, you can do chip clips, you can do the Bowdraba, you do whatever works for you. Okay. You're just pinching, making sure you have a little bit of that excess left. Okay. Making sure all your loops are the same. Okay. And then you just keep stacking them in. All right. Looks just a tad big. There we go. Let's put some of this in. So you can see this one is more about adding in lots of different patterns and different types of ribbon, and only 1 tail. Okay. I think we only cut 1 blue. We better go back. Well, it doesn't matter. You don't have to have the exact amount. That's the great thing about this bow. You can do this with a whole bunch of different bows. A whole bunch of different ribbons, I should say. Okay. Alright. I'm going to cut 1 more blue, and then we're going to fluff this out. Okay. Alright, there we go. So now, you see we have all of these tails here. We're going to take some of our wire. Just want to make sure you have enough to go around whatever project you're doing. Okay. I like to find the center. Make sure when you're tying it on that you have all of those little pieces in it, because you don't want something to come out. Then hold it and tie it on as tight as you can get it. Just like that. Okay. Now, I'm just going to stick it on my fluff box just for ease. And then you just fluff it out. So this is a super cute bow. Now you don't have to use all different patterns. You could use all the same. It's just a great way to do a bow without having to make a bunch of loops and doing the twisting and so on and so forth. Okay, so there's another simple, easy, quick bow. This one's quick to make and it's fun. So, and I am using wired. Now what you can do with the tails, there's many things you can do with these tails. So let's talk about these tails for a second. So let's bring our little example back here and so I brought my grapevine back so I can tie it on because I want to show you that you can do a few things with these tails, okay? So you want to make sure they're all facing forward. What you could do is you can take them and you can roll them up and have them be different lengths. So this is a lot of fun. You can cut them at an angle like that. I'm going to make sure you can see. Like that. You can fold them over and cut them and do a dovetail like that. But I really like to roll it up and just kind of get it. So that's why I use wired. Just kind of get little fun loops in it. So you see how cute that is? And you see how cute that bow is on our wreath? So you can see the difference between the two. So this one just has a bunch of ribbon, just one, and this one has both. But you see they're both really cute and easy to make. Alright, so now let's look at a bow that I think is really great because, so for this bow, we're going to make loops. So we'll do about 5 inches. Okay, so what's different about this one is you're going to stack them instead of twisting them in the center. Alright, so you want to do these, make sure they match. Then what you do is you pull it around this way. Do you see that? Make sure they match. Okay. So what you're doing is you're pulling it forward instead of putting it behind. Like this. Okay? So you just keep doing this until you get the number of loops that you want. Okay? And you just keep holding it. You can hold it in between your thumb and forefinger here. That helps sometimes if you have pain in your hands. Okay? So what you're doing is you're taking it, you're looping it over, and you're sticking it in your hand. Like that. Okay? So we'll do one more. So just Loop it over, hold it in your hand, loop it over, and hold it in your hand, just like that, okay? And you just want to trim it off. Take some of our wire. Okay. Now you could also do a stacked bow this way, just by making them separately and then adding them together. Okay, so just put it around your bow. And just like all the other bows, you want to make it super, super, super tight. There we go. All right. And we'll stick it on here, and you can see it looks the same as when you're twisting it. And then you can just pull them just like you would any other bow and fluff it out. Okay. Just like that. So you can see another bow. And you would just put it on whatever you're doing and just fluff it out. Now you of course could add tails at the end. That's strictly up to you. All right. All right, so now we're going to look at a bow that you can do with complete scraps. Okay, so I always have ribbon left when I'm done with projects. And so I just throw them in a container because I know I can bring them back out and I can use them for several different things. I could use them for the funky bow, and I can use them, I like to call this the Starburst Bow, but I don't really know what the name of it is, but it's just what I call it. So one thing I like to do is to make sure all of my pieces have dovetails. You want your ribbons to be between 10 and 14 inches. So I just kind of make sure that they're long enough. And then I take my scraps, and I make sure that they have dovetails. It really does work a little better if you do your dovetails with this one. So I always just grab pieces that I have laying around. See, and oftentimes I already have them dovetailed because I've worked on a project with them. Okay. So some of these don't have dovetails, so I will just go ahead and do that. I have some pieces that are smaller and some pieces that are bigger. And for the purposes of this one, that's fine. All right. So I have all my pieces dovetailed. All right. Now what you're going to do is you're essentially going to create a bow with your scraps. So you just want to take your ribbon, pinch it in the middle, take another piece, pinch it in the middle, and you're going to start alternating them. Okay, just like this. And you're just stacking them either on the bottom or on the top, and you just keep alternating. You could also do this in the Bowdraba because you can just stick it in and then kind of fluff it out when you get it out. But I like to just hold it in my hand and do it. Like this. And you see, it's fine if you have different links because it's just going to add to the bow. Okay. So I just keep stacking it in until I feel like I have enough. So I think let's do one more and then I think we have enough. Alright, there we go. Now you just want to take a piece of wire. Cut it off. Then you just want to take it around the center. And tie it together. So I like to kind of pull it up like this and then just tie it around. Now, let's bring our little grapevine back so I can show you what this looks like. So when you put it on, you just kind of fluff them out. You see why I think it looks like a starburst? You can move your ribbons around so you can see them all. And what's even really super cute to do with something like this is you can add in rope in the center. Let's see. Hi, love. So there's a lot of things you can do. You can leave it just like this. You can kind of curl them under a little bit. Make some of them look a little bit like loops. You can take rope and you can make a couple loops with rope and put it in the center. You can also take some of your tubing and just loop a few times and put that in the center. That looks really cute. So there's a lot of different things that you can do with this, and the best thing is that you can do this with all of your scraps, because I know that you have to be looking for ways to use up your scraps just like I am, because you get so many of them and it costs a lot of money to get all these nice ribbons, so it's really nice to have a way to use them. And you see, it just looks adorable. You could put something in the center as well. You can also do an entire wreath with this. So if you take one of your wreath forms, you take your ribbon, your little ribbon starburst, you can stack these right on a wreath and just put them all the way around, and it looks adorable. You can do this both with this type of wire frame, and you can also do it with the work wreath frame. With the work wreath frame, you can just stack them right and move the tie right around them. And you just put some on the top and some on the bottom. But I think this is an adorable, adorable bow because it's just so easy to make and it's perfect for scraps. And I love to use these on wreaths. Okay, so this next bow we're going to do, I really like. So what I do is I take my ribbon and I will measure out, let's do about 16 inches, okay? Then I'm going to pinch it right here, okay? and get some more out of my spool. And I'm going to make a 2 or 3 inch loop, okay? So this is going to be your center. So let's see how big I made it. Okay, about 2 inches. So we might make it just a tad larger, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this and I'm going to twist it one good time, okay? So that it won't come loose. Alright, we're going to leave this tail over here and just leave it be. So what we're going to do is we're going to make another loop, okay? About 3 inches. So we're just ignoring this tail, so you can move out of the way. So when we get to the center, we're going to have to twist to get the pretty side back up. Do another 3 inch. We'll check and make sure that's right. Yes. Okay, back to the center. So what I'm doing is I'm holding my thumb inside here to keep this all together. I'm going to twist it, come back out. I'm going to make the next loop about 4 inches. Yes, there we go. Okay, twist again. Another one, 4 inches. Okay, then we're going to twist again. This one is going to be 5 inches. Now you can do this as many times as you want. Make as many loops as you want. We're going to do there we go. So we've got about 1 inch more. Yep. So I'm just eyeballing to make sure it's about right. We're going to do one more and that's going to be it. So twist. Okay. Go out 1 more inch. So we have 3, 4, 5, 6 inches. Pinch, twist. Bring it out that 1 more inch. Okay. Come back to the center. Pinch. Okay. Then what I'll do is holding this all together. I will take a pipe cleaner. I'm just going to run it through the center here. I'm going to hold it really tight and just twist it off. Okay? Because you want it to be nice and tight. So I like to do that before I cut my second tail, so I'm not having to try to hold it. Okay, and then just cut your tail. Okay, and then make sure you want to twist both tails to come in the front, like that. I find it a little bit easier if I just set it down on a surface and start moving. So what I like to do is I like to move these in opposite directions. So this one, this one, this one, this one, this one, this one. Of course, you can also get out your fluff box, and then I usually leave these two in the center. Okay. There we go. And you have a whole different type of bow. So let me grab a Grapevine Wreath and I'll show you what this one looks like. So what I like about this one is it just has a different look to it. And then you can take your pipe cleaners and just run it around, tie it on. Of course, it's always easier to fluff when you have it on something. Then you can just finish fluffing. Okay. You see how cute that looks? Of course, you always want to stick your hands in there and just fluff it up. And then you can take the tails. There's a couple different things you could do. You could take your fingers and pull them like that and kind of get them to curl. I really like to do that. So kind of like you're doing, you know, when you get those long stringy ribbons and you're trying to get them to curl, you're doing the same kind of process, okay? Okay. Now what I like about this one is that it's simple, it's not difficult, it has a little bit of a different look, and I just think it's cute. All right. Now, okay, so I have one more I want to show you, and this is also a double bow, but it's a little different. So generally, if I'm doing a bow like this, I will use something like this jute that you can see through, because what you're not going to do is you're not going to separate them. You're going to keep them together. So you just want to make a loop, okay? You're keeping them together. And this can be a little bit more challenging if you have trouble with your hands, so you would certainly want to use the Bowdraba or something along those lines. So I have 2 loops there. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take these and put them in between my hand right here. And I'm going to use the method where you do not have to twist it, because there are 2 of them. It just makes it a little bit easier if you don't have to twist them, okay? And you can do that just by folding it over, you see, like we did earlier, okay? So you're really just folding them in opposite directions. So on this side you're folding it this way, and on this side you're folding it this way. And that's how it keeps it together, and you don't have to do the twisting, okay? It also makes it a lot easier if you hold it in between these 2. Your hand is a little bit less likely to cramp if you have it in between those 2 fingers, as opposed to doing it in between some of your other fingers. Okay, so we'll do one more. I really like this look because it really makes your ribbon look different. It's just something to do that's a little different. I'm always looking for different. Okay, and there we go. We have 4 loops. I think that's good. So I'm just going to take it and trim it off right here. Okay. There we go. Okay. Now, I will take a little wire. And you just want to tie it around your bow. Make sure you pull it really tight and then twist it off. All right. And then you can just kind of move your bow and fluff it out, remembering to keep those together. You see how different that looks? And of course you can add your tails if you would like to. But you see how it is with them together, so you can still see the pattern under there, but it makes it look a lot different. So let me get my wire untangled here. I can show you. Okay, so you see how different. So this is the same ribbon. This is the same ribbon as this. But you see how different it looks if you just kind of layer it with a second ribbon on top. Whoops. Let me straighten this one out. I didn't tie that on very well. Okay. Alright, so there we go. So kind of a bow for every occasion. See, and you could take the same two pieces, okay, because you would want to keep the same effect, and cut some tails so you can see how that looks. It looks really cute. I love to do this kind of bow because it just makes it a little different, and it's just a little bit more fun. A little bit of fun to add on to there. Okay. Alright, so we're going to look at one more. Then I think I've probably bowed you to death. So. Okay, so I don't know if you've seen any of this. So this is the Deco Mesh ribbon. And you know, when I first saw this stuff years ago, when I first started making wreaths, I thought, what in the world do you do with that? Well, you know what? You can make bows with this too. So one fun thing, see, and this is a 4-inch piece, okay? So what I like to do, if I'm going to use these, is I will make a loop, make another loop, like this, and I'll just make like 4 loops about the same size. Okay, so you don't have to twist this. There's no pattern that you have to get to the front, so you can just twist and cut it off. So what I essentially like to do with this, and hey, now you can use this as a bow. You just would make it just like any other bow. Okay, but what I like to do is stack it. So I have a 4-inch piece. This is 2.5 inch here. So just make another loop, pinch, put it in my hand. Well, let's make this a little bit larger. There we go. Yes. So you see what I'm doing. Alright. Okay. So I'm just making sure these are big enough. Alright. Okay, so twist. I want to make it the same size. Back to the center. Twist. Another loop, same size. Okay. And then I can trim this off. Okay. Then I'm going to take this and put it right here on top of my 4-inch. Okay. There we go. Now I'm going to take a 1.5 inch and I'm going to do the same thing. So So let's see what size we want to make this one. About like that. So, here we go. All right. Nope, not quite. So that's why you always want to make sure that everything is the same size. Okay. And then I'll just put this right in the center. Okay. Grab a pipe cleaner, wire. It could be either. Okay. And you want to tie it tight. Always want to tie it tight. There we go. Now, what essentially this does is this just kind of gives you kind of a backdrop with the larger bow. Okay? So let's look at it. So you can see these all have very different looks, and you just kind of have to play around and see what kind you like, what's easy for you to make, and what kind you like. So of course, whenever you get it on, then you just want to kind of fluff things out. So I like this look because it's like a layered stacked look, but it's kind of larger, and then it gets smaller as it gets towards the top. Of course, you can do more than just the few little loops that I did, but that's that kind of bow. All right, well, I hope that this helped you. I know a lot of people struggle with bows, but you know, you just have to play around with different ones and see which ones work for you. There are so many ways out there to make bows, and there are a lot of great videos on it, so you just have to go out there and look for them and just practice, because that's what I did. So I struggled a lot when I began. I really had no trouble whatsoever doing the wreaths, but I struggled with the bow. And you know, I just was lucky, and I had a sister who was really good at it, and she taught me how to make bows. She actually showed me how to make my first bow. Would be today, 15 years ago, because that's right before my husband and I were getting married and making our wedding plans. So it was 14 years ago. But so that was the first time that I really sat down and tried really hard to make a bow, and I did great. Before that, I always struggled. She always had to help me with my bows, and I would have to use some of the techniques like the hobo kind of stuff, and that's okay. It's okay to do that. But I learned that night after making all of the bows for the pews how to do it, and it's just kind of stuck with me ever since. So thanks, sis, for helping me figure that out. Alright, well, I hope y'all enjoyed this. You'll have to let me know what you thought and which one you tried and which one you liked. Okay, thank you for watching. God bless. Bye-bye.